Hi, Neal Brennan. Hey, here's some dates. March 16th, I'm going to be in Boston at the Sinclair in Cambridge. March 21st, I'm going to be at the Brea Improv. March 28th, 29th, 30th, I'm going to be in Chicago at the Laugh Factory.
I'm recording this after the fact. April 12th, New Orleans. I'm coming, and I'm taping an hour-long Comedy Central special in your wonderful town. So come fuck with me there. It'll be fun. It's the first hour I've ever done for TV. Moshe?
Hi, everybody. It's your boy, Moshe Kasher. Excited to be here again. Here are my dates. I'm going to be at Caroline's on Broadway on March 14th through the 18th. These shows are with Natasha Leggero, and you should really come to them because I would love to see all of you. Come to them. Caroline's on Broadway, Times Square. April 1st, I'll be at One-Eyed Jack's in New Orleans, Louisiana. And then I got the Bridgetown Comedy Festival coming up, and there's some other exciting dates, all of which you can find on my website, moshekasher.com. Also, don't forget to buy a Champs t-shirt. Go to bluecollardistro.com/thechamps and get your Champs gear so you can fuck with us in wherever town you live in.
Hey, this is DJ Douggpound. No shows coming up, but follow me on Twitter at Douggpound with 2 G's.
California. Very
Doug, is
excited
that from
to be back.
a what's his name movie?
That is Eliota Haynes and Jeremiah.
Okay.
I should say the name because everyone always Twitters at me and I have to keep repeating the name of it.
Ali, Hoda, James, and
Eliota Haynes. It's called Lakeshore Drive. Look up a song called Lakeshore Drive. It's
there
really
you go.
Good, really good.
Go to town. Hey guys, you guess who our guest is? Let me put it to you like this.
They probably know because it probably says it on
Yeah, it says
iTunes.
it, or you know who it is.
But
we're
guess
gonna give
anyway. It's
fucking
going to be a fun
Go ahead
game.
and guess. Are you dumb?
Is you dumb? Read
Are
the
you looking
shit.
at your phone? Now go ahead and guess, dummy. This guy is co-creator of Everybody Hates Chris, the creator or co-creator of Are We There Yet?
Something like that, yeah.
Creator.
I developed it for television.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and was a big writer for the Chris Rock Show. Ali LeRoi is here, everyone. Yeah, yeah.
Apparently, I'm fucking with the champs.
You are
now a
officially fucking with the champs. Now, Ali, I don't even know where to begin with you.
Let's start at the beginning.
Let's start at the beginning. Go. Where are you from?
I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
Born and raised south side of Chicago.
So when did you get into, what kind of childhood do you have, and then when did you get into comedy?
What kind of childhood did I have, and then when did I get into comedy? Shit, all right, that's a span.
How about just one? Answer one of those.
I'm gonna answer that question like Neal gives out his dates. Did you hear that shit? Like Neal gives out dates like they're not in order. You know, like I'll be at this place on March 4th, and I'll be at this place on September 15th. I'll be at this other place on January 3rd. It's like, come on, dude, get sequential, please.
If there's one thing we don't do on this podcast, it's criticize Neal. So what you're doing right now,
I'm breaking ground.
Yeah, you're breaking.
You know why?
ground.
I'm from Chicago.
You know who
Fuck
edits,
your rules.
You know who edits this podcast? Neal
It
Brennan.
is Neal Brennan.
Oh,
yeah.
so it's going to end up in the order that you want
Yes,
it, regardless
that is
of what
correct.
I say.
That is correct.
I'm at the 1st of April. I will be at.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't bully.
Chicago comedy. How did I get it? Damn, growing up, man. Let's see. My father left when I was 6 years old, I think.
Where'd he go?
He left Chicago.
Did he tell you?
Yes. Well, I don't. You know, actually, I don't know. I don't remember him actually making a statement that he was leaving. Yeah, I don't think my parents, like, you know where you see sometimes where the family's breaking up and then they sit the kids down and explain to them what happened.
Right.
I don't recall
Didn't happen.
getting that explanation.
That's hilarious.
I don't recall there being a formal sort of, you know,
Right.
your dad's leaving and it's just going to be me and your sister now. I have a...
He took your sister?
No, he left my sister. He took my brother.
He took one of the kids?
Yeah, he took
Oh,
one.
that
Did
had
he
to
really?
smart.
Yes.
That had to hurt.
Did I tell the story of my dad, the story that my father told me, which is my dad's now is literally 80,
Right.
83. He was born in 1930. He's one of 13 kids in Chicago. This is some Chicago shit.
Right, thank you.
I don't know how to relate to
his
any of this.
parents,
What about it?
wanted to like get rid of him, so they let a couple come and take him for a test drive.
Sure.
In a car for like an hour one Sunday, and then they decided like,
was he trying to act all cute and shit
Yeah,
while
probably.
he was in there? He's like,
yeah. And then they were like, you know what, we're gonna leave you.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's pretty bad.
we couldn't give your dad away.
No, literally, you couldn't give him away.
They took your dad for a test drive?
Yeah.
Is he a rickshaw operator?
No, he was 6, and they sat him in the middle.
Hey man, I just times have changed. Molesters, they weren't always as good as they are now.
No,
now
correct,
when somebody
Now-
takes your kid, they'll raise them someplace else and give them a new name and and have kids with them. The whole thing. Now
Right. Keep 'em in a basement.
Yeah, molesters used to be lazy.
Right.
This is too much work.
If you would like to get in my van, I would welcome you, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to force
But I'm
you.
not
shit.
gonna-
I'm telling you, if I got to choke you and put a bag on your head,
I'm gonna
it's-
do all that.
Yeah, you want to come or you don't.
This is just a hobby for me. I don't want to make it a full-time thing where I have to get equipment.
Right. So my mom and dad broke up when I was about 6 years old.
Was South Chicago, when you were growing up, a terrible neighborhood, or was it not?
No, well, I mean, you think about it like this. When you're a kid living wherever you are, you don't view it through the lens of people who have had it better than you're having it,
Right.
thinking that it's bad or good. It just is what it is. So right now, there's some fucking kid in Mogadishu that's thinking, this shit ain't so bad. And then,
Right.
20 years from
Right.
now, you go, I did what?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was in the Janjaweed when I was 6?
He'll say
Damn.
he'll say it like that too, even though he's African.
I did what?
Say what?
Say what? It's just it's funnier like that.
Yeah,
It
no,
really is. That is
it
the
worked.
funniest. Yeah, the funniest way to react to anything.
Well, people always ask. My parents are both deaf, and people always will say, "Oh, what was it like growing up with deaf parents?" I have no answer because I don't have any experience growing up with parents that can hear. So
Right.
I don't know. Sounds regular.
When
for
did
me.
you realize, like, oh, that was a little fucked up?
A couple of weeks ago.
He did what?
What? Yeah, it just recently I've kind of come to grips with the fact that I am severely emotionally and mentally disturbed, but, and I've been wreaking havoc in my life and in the lives of other people for a long time.
I feel like you're kind of being honest right now.
Oh no, I am.
Now you're really a champ.
And wondering what the fuck was wrong with them. Like, what the hell's wrong with you people?
Well, how'd you figure it all out? So
No, what were
happened?
you doing?
What the fuck?
What was I doing? I don't know, man.
Were you ever married?
I am.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I'm married 20 years. It'll be 21 years in September of 2013, in case this podcast gets lost and somebody needs a reference for time.
And she hasn't brought to your attention what a fucked up individual you are?
What do you mean she hasn't brought to my attention? Yes, that she makes it a point of bringing to my attention.
That's what and you just realized? You just finally started listening to her a couple weeks ago?
Well, when you're a comedian, you view shit through your own lens, man. It's
Right.
like, all right, I understand that you think that what I'm saying and doing and how I'm acting is wrong, but that's because you don't understand.
Right.
Yeah, every fucking comedian is disturbed.
Yeah.
That's why we do this shit. If you were a sane, balanced person and well-adjusted, you'd have no need to fucking walk around trying to get people to like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah, who does that?
Yeah. No, I guess what do normal people do? They just assume people like them or they don't care?
There are no normal people. That's the secret. There,
But
none
I
of
mean,
them.
true. There are no, whatever the baseline of normal is supposed to be. But that added extra attraction of going out and trying to get masses of strangers to like you
Yeah.
is some bizarre shit.
Yeah.
True. Most people just don't fucking do that.
Right.
I got an idea. There's not enough people in this one room liking me. I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna get some people to pay me and then like me and see how that works
I'm
out.
gonna
And
go
then if
hang
they
out
don't
with-
like me, fuck them because they don't know
get it.
any better. This fucking asshole.
What have you realized in the last few weeks has been your problem?
There's some Morris Day Purple Rain. What is your main problem? What is my main problem? Oh shit, man, I don't know.
Well, let's keep talking. Let's.
No, because he's never going to answer this again.
I know.
Right, I might not answer it this
Yeah,
time.
That's what I'm saying. I was trying to
know,
give him
but
a bridge
let's see,
out.
Let's see, and if it gets slow, we edit it out. Otherwise, we got him on the hot seat where we want him.
Right. What is my main problem? What is my main problem? All right. I do know this. I was neglected. I was severely neglected as a child. I did not know that at the time, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't find out until later that there's a particular type of attention and interaction that I'm looking for. And I just recognized in the last couple of years that when that's not happening, then, damn the torpedoes, I'm going to get that sort of attention, and you actually don't have the wherewithal to tell somebody, okay, look, before you start fucking around with me, here's some shit you need to know.
Right.
If you ignore me, remember the chick in the movie with the rabbit? It's like, hey, Dan, I will not be ignored. Yeah, kind of like that. It's like, I'm just not going to burn your rabbit.
Right. What are you going to do?
I don't really want to say on this podcast.
But that's what this podcast is for.
Yeah, but unfortunately for me, all right. So so this morning, right?
Here we go.
No. So this morning, I guess I posted some shit on Facebook, and so one of my wife's friends calls her and says, your husband's a misogynist. He doesn't like women, whatever. And so she calls.
Is that what you posted? I don't like women.
I did not write that.
Especially my wife.
Updated at 8:32 a.m.
No, fuck women, especially my wife. I did not write that. Whatever I wrote, and because the woman wouldn't tell my wife whatever it was that I wrote that upset her so. And I was like, look, man, it's like, I don't know what the fuck I wrote. It's like, do I write some jokes at the expense of women? Sure, but I write some jokes at the expense of everybody. I said, now here's the thing about the Facebook page. I said, there are people who disagree with shit that I say. Well, it's right there on the page, and that's the great thing about the open forum is that, you invite a certain criticism by putting yourself out in public. Yeah. And then people critique you, and then you fight back and forth, and then tomorrow you do something else. It's tough out there, man, That particular thing, operating in a world with the internet and Facebook and that sort of interactivity, the reality that as a guy who doesn't do stand up anymore, but I still like the exchange of writing jokes. I still like to get that response. I still like to do that. So that's where that neglect thing comes in. It's like, yeah, I'm in the house with one person right now, and as much as she might be able to address emotional needs and all that sort of shit, it's like, yeah, but you're not 500 people.
Yeah.
So the thrill of having 500 people and like that kind of doesn't go away, and that's that's because of neglect.
Okay, well, let's talk about when did you start doing stand up, and then how long do you do it, and then when did you decide to be a writer?
I started in groups first.
Improv groups.
Yeah, a sketch. I didn't do improv. And for people who are in sketch, there's a fine distinction, and it's very important.
Thank you.
We wrote our shit and then we went and performed it.
You used to do a big improv show, right? With Chappelle?
You guys
had
wrote
a great
a lot
improv.
of it. You guys had a lot of it.
It was great skits, though.
Improving and ad-libbing are two different things.
Yeah, that is correct.
When you ad-lib, there's something to add to.
Right.
So yeah, I did. I probably started in about 79, 80, something like that, doing group shit in clubs in Chicago. Then we traveled for a while, doing like the college circuit and early TV. It's like shit's a long time ago.
How many people were in the group?
When we really got on the road functionally, it was like 3.
Okay, and who were they?
Myself, Lance Crowther,
right?
Who's probably best known.
Pootie Tang,
yes, and a guy named Tim Miller, who's no longer doing stand up or stuff out of Chicago. So we toured for a while doing that, and we were out in New York when USA was first starting to do comedy. Comedy Cuts, the Ha channel and the Comedy channel. It was like there's 2 different channels at the time. It wasn't Comedy Central yet. Sinbad's brother Mark Atkins used to produce a show called Comic Justice. Remember? AJ Jamal?
I remember. I believe Lance did the bit where he changed outfits. Correct?
Yeah.
So you were part of the sketch group on Comic Justice.
Yeah. AJ Jamal hosted. Remember AJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, so AJ hosted. We wrote on that for a couple of. They did like 2 seasons of it, I think.
Were you excited when you moved out here? Were you like you were doing well? You were making a living doing sketch?
Well, see, I just moved out here maybe like 2002, 2003, something like that. Because I had been on the road. I toured extensively with Bernie Mac for about 5-6 years.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. I used to write for Bernie regularly, and then I toured for him as well.
What were you? You were opening, you're saying?
Yeah. So I did. This is all before Bernie did Kings of Comedy too.
Got it.
He was a huge road act. So in the late. Well, actually, it was like the early 90s up to about 95, 96 is when I was working with Bernie. And, yeah, he was doing, 3,000, 5,000 seat houses before the Kings of Comedy.
Right.
So I was touring with him then, and This is before I went to do the Chris Rock show. So I'm jumping around like you do with your bookings.
Sure.
Right.
But you can edit it and put it in the right order.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Because you've insulted me.
So you're going to take your shit and put
Yes,
it in
I'm
order,
gonna
but
put mine
mine is
in
just
order,
going
but yours will remain in total
discombobulated mess.
disarray.
All right, that's fine.
Just read my book.
So yeah, I did the group thing for a while until like mid to late 80s. Then I went solo. Because when you're in a group, chances are that shit's going to fall apart because different people have different responsibilities, whatever.
So you're saying when you're in a 3-person project, the odds of it falling apart are very high?
Are very high.
Huh. I'm looking at you, Doug and Neal.
Yes.
I see you.
And chances are...
you stuck with you and Lance became partners. So
yes, me and Lance...
I'm looking at this guy, Tim.
Yeah, it's Tim's fault.
Yeah, what the fuck happened to Tim, man?
Yeah, so the group broke up. I was doing solo stuff. Lance was doing solo stuff. We made a decision that we would work together and start writing. And then Chris called us, as a matter of fact, and pulled us into his HBO thing. And this is, this overlaps with my working with Bernie and some other things. And Lance had been out for a while doing stand-up as well. So.
What can you tell us anything about Bernie what are your like kind of memories of Bernie?
What can I tell you about him? He was a showman, and I mean, I knew Bernie from the late 70s. When he was working around Chicago doing late night sets at, like the shittiest clubs in town. And Bernie was never accepted into any of the mainstream rooms. So, when there were Improv and Zanies, and in Chicago, the Funny Firm came along, and then Catch a Rising Star started doing franchise rooms, Funny Bones. Bernie never worked any of those places.
Right.
Especially in Chicago, he would always find like a jazz club or like a restaurant that had a dead night. Right. And he would do a comedy show. So all of his notice coming up out of Chicago came primarily from him creating his own room, booking his own show, and he had a real throwback style. Bernie would write a bit, but he didn't have a problem with doing a joke book joke either.
Really?
Oh shit, man! He's Bernie is one of them 1,000 joke guys.
Uh-huh.
If he doesn't have one that he wrote, he'll give you a good one.
Would he personalize it and be like, "So I went to the zoo yesterday.
This chicken crosses the road, right?
Right.
I ain't scared of that chicken.
He's genius at that shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
I'm not mad at that.
He was unabashed. He did not, because his thing was, he was just trying to give a good show. And it's like, hey, I'm standing here. If I provided the laugh, then I'm funny.
Right.
That's the way that works. So he would do his bit, whatever the material is he wrote, and he had a ton of it. But like I say, he just didn't have a problem fucking throwing out a nice road worn joke book joke that'll take it home.
I ain't scared of you, motherfuckers.
That was from a joke book, correct?
Yeah.
I ain't scared of you, motherfuckers.
All right, so I'll tell you a story about I Ain't Scared of You, motherfuckers. You might not know this. So when Bernie does Def Jam, first appearance. He's out in New York. I don't know who the act is that goes on before him. But the guy that goes on before him, in Bernie's words, got ate up.
Yeah.
Crowd fucking tore him. I do not know who it is. So the guy comes off. I guess he's down because it's New York crowds. Nothing they love more than to boo somebody off stage.
Sure.
Better than enjoying the show is fucking wrecking the show.
It's all part of a complete breakfast.
Shit, they'd love to give a standing ovation, but it's even better to boo somebody off the stage.
Right.
They're always disappointed at James Brown. They're like, we never got to boo him off. So Bernie comes out, and his thing is, he's really telling them, I'm not scared of you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
That's not a joke. He's actually telling them the truth. He's going, this is my bit. This is what I'm doing. Fuck you guys. I'm not scared of you. That wasn't humor on his part. He was just telling the truth. And then they laughed at
you, motherfuckers.
Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, I remember hearing as it happened. I remember it. Did you ever do Def Jam?
I did not know.
Now because Bernie made do you think he would have done just as well at the Funny Firm, at Zanies, because the thing about I would assume he's performing mostly for black crowds, right?
Right.
And if he had performed for white crowds, maybe he wouldn't have been the same performer.
No, not true. But you're just not presented in the same way. And there's I know he went out and he used to open. He opened for Red Fox a few times out in Vegas. Mm-hmm. And that fit.
Yeah, I
you know,
bet.
like Red Fox gave him 5 minutes. You know, go out there and do your thing.
Yeah.
You know, and then when that light come on, you get the fuck off. You know, and that works because, you know, the Red Fox style is like Bernie was much more in that class and style of comedian than what people by the mid 80s had become accustomed to seeing, you know, whether it was on Carson or Letterman or, you know, those outlets where we were doing
How would you describe it? Because I know what you mean, but I wonder how to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you never heard album comedy, you know, if you've never heard a Red Fox album or a Pigmeat Markham album or come on, who's Bahamian Juice? Dick Gregory.
Yeah.
If you've never heard a Dick Gregory record or a Richard Pryor record, you know, there was a way of performing that was, you know, they were professional comedians.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
Bernie, I feel like I talked about this on the show once. He told Godfrey, the comedian, like, you don't have to worry about killing the whole time.
Right.
You can have waves.
Yeah.
As long as you just kill often enough.
Start strong, end strong, and get a nice couple of good punches in the middle. And half of that shit is charisma. It's commanding the stage.
It's almost, well, that's the thing, is when you're not doing as well, you almost have to be more charismatic.
Dude,
Well,
It almost becomes
it
a preacher thing or just like an organizer thing.
so check this out. When I first went out with Bernie, you know, I had been accustomed to you know, doing, you know, 40-minute sets in clubs and whatever. I was headlining a few places, but you know, you go out on that stage and you're in an auditorium, and this stage is, you know, 35, 40 feet wide.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not some, you know, 8-foot wide comedy club stage. That shit's huge.
Yeah.
So when I first went out, I felt like I needed to work the stage. You know, I need to go talk to these cats way over on the left wing and then get all the way back over and talk to the people on the right wing. And what occurred to me is that I probably look like I'm running all over the place and that I'm scared to death. You know, because I was getting some, you know, I would, you know, the material was okay. You know, I mean, I was happy with it. You know, I would get laughs, but I'm the opening act. So because I'm the opening act, they're not there to see me. You know, they're trying to find their seats. They're getting their drinks. They're taking coats off, all this type of shit. And, you know, and here I am running around the stage, and they don't even know who the fuck I am. So after a few shows, what I started to do was stand still. Because I figured, okay, cats are walking in. They're going to hear a voice. Maybe they think it's Bernie when they come out, whatever. But when they walk in and they're trying to find their seats, I'm going to make it a lot easier for the audience to find me and to pay attention to me if I'm standing still.
That's
also, if I'm standing still, it looks like I'm not nervous.
Yeah.
I'm just standing there. I'm doing my shit. Come on in, sit down. I see you. I see you. You see me.
You know
We're
what's
sitting.
funny is I don't know if I agree with you or disagree with you because you've heard Chris's take on that.
Well,
yeah.
I'm approaching it from being the guy who's the opening
Not the
act.
headliner.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
not the headliner.
Yeah.
So it's important for me to give off a certain air of confidence. And you know, you standing there looking cool, then you know, it's like, all right, he looks
Yeah.
like he knows what the fuck he's doing. You know, and then they, you know, it's easy for them to focus and to listen, and I'm not running around, and my command of the audience changed. Now, if I'm the headline, I can go do what the fuck I want. They're
Right.
there to see me.
Did
But as
Bernie
the-
move much?
A little.
Yeah,
you
he
know,
didn't move. I don't remember him moving a ton.
8, 9 feet. You know, a couple of steps off this side, a couple of steps off there. He didn't
But I
run
mean,
all over the
everything's
place.
different. I mean, Chris and Dane Cook stalked the stage, and Stephen Wright's never moved in his entire career. You know,
Stephen Wright moves back and forth, I think.
I don't think so.
I thought he did.
Maybe I'm wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
but you know, I heard I was at coffee the other day, and there was a group of comedians talking shit about another comedian that was not there.
Were you with them? Or you
yeah.
overheard them?
No, I was with them.
Yeah.
And we were all talking shit about a comedian that wasn't there, which is what, you know, that's what you do.
Well, that's what you do.
No, tell me you've never done that.
I've never done that.
Come on.
You said tell you that. I didn't say it was true. I'm just doing what you told me to
Now
do.
that's improv.
All right. Go on.
And
That, my friend. And now you're doing improv.
Right.
and they were all saying about this person, that person has to kill. And it was an insult. It was like, they have to kill. Like, and I knew what they were talking about. You know what I mean? Like what you're talking about, waves and
Right.
stuff. Like they were saying about this person, like that person just has to kill. That's their thing. Like I got to get up there and I got to kill every time. And it's not who you think it is. I can see you.
No,
thinking-
I don't think it. Well, no, I'm thinking that's another one of those things of like, do I agree?
Do you agree or not?
Do I, or do I?
I think I agree.
What do I think that's an insult to say that someone always has to kill? Because
Well-
I've heard like Warren Thomas told me that Dana Carvey used to say like, literally want someone to have a fucking heart attack.
Right.
I want to kill that hard. And I always think about that. It's like, good for you. I hope, it's like.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree. Actually, I didn't necessarily agree with them, but I got what they meant, which is I do think as you become more older and more sophisticated and more grounded as a comedian, you can do what you want.
I mean, they're trying too hard every time.
Yeah, I feel like me now compared to me 5 years ago, the sort of lust to murder every second that I'm on stage isn't there as much. I want to like kind of have an experience and.
Well, I mean, different cats are bringing different things to tell. And that whole notion of I gotta kill, I mean, if we're on the outside looking in, which I guess is what we're doing, that just might be what that energy feels like, to that person. They need to feel like they left it all on the stage, and that the audience feels like they left it all on the stage. And sometimes that's the thing for them. It's like fucking.
I think the only problem comes up when you're doing a 20-seater.
Well, that's right. It's hilarious to watch.
Like, that's the problem is when a friend of mine said that he used to see Rage Against the Machine play in small, empty clubs. Yeah. And it was the fucking biggest embarrassment.
Right, because what are you raging against?
Yes, and no one's there.
One guy jumping up and down.
There's this comedian, I don't know if I should say his name, but Heath Heish. I mean,
I know the name.
So you made the decision right at that moment to say the name.
I mean, I did because I know that he can edit it out.
Yeah,
if I decide.
Because you
but
you weren't sure, and then you decided.
Well, I just was trying to figure out if what I was about to say is brutally fucked up or not.
Decide.
I don't think it is. But somebody hit.
Well, if it is, you can always say, "Well, fuck it, he can edit it out."
Exactly. So somebody was saying they were opening for Heath, and he's got an act that it's like a Vegas act. I mean, he pulls. He's not just doing props. He's doing like he'll put a suit on where there's another man on this, like a dummy on the suit, and they're riding a two-seat bicycle together, and then like he's putting on a cowboy hat and he's riding. I mean, it's huge Vegas.
A lot of stuff going on.
Very much so. So this dude was saying he was opening for him. He just said he was opening for him for like a string of 8 shows or something. And when he would be killing, I mean, it would just be amazing. Right. But when he would be bombing, it would be the exact same show. Like he he couldn't adjust. Yeah. He had no ability to adjust. Right. He only had one speed. So and there's nothing like watching a guy bomb like with like 90 props being.
What
juggled
you're talking
around.
about, it goes to that Bernie thing of like different kinds of laughs. But I feel like there's so few comics who the only person who ever got a different kind of laugh was Pryor. That I would like. Chris's act is airtight. Eddie's act is airtight. Chappelle's act is airtight for the most part. Like Dave is more. His jokes are more elliptical. But so when someone says they want to kill, it like Pryor had those like more like poetic sort of patches. Right. So I gotta be like. But you kind of should kill.
Well, look, have you never had the experience of having an opener in front of you? You're headlining a club, and somebody's opening, and they're clearly auditioning for the club to be a headliner.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, come on, man. I mean, like, you got to do what you got to do. You're the headliner. You got to go on and do the show. But you're just like, come on. We don't need to give your fucking treatise on and then my dad came back and said, hello, son. Whoa!
Yeah.
But that's what it means.
But you also have to look at it from the perspective of the cat who's trying to get on.
No, absolutely, no doubt. And I get why, because I've been the same
you're trying
dude.
to get on.
But it's like at a certain point, you're like, oh, all right, I see what you're doing. You're doing your big thing here. You know what I mean? And then you get on, or I get on, and I'm trying to have give a show, like, and just have a good time.
Right.
I mean, Moshe tries to bomb.
Yeah, I try, and I succeed.
He's like one of those guys that has to bomb every time.
I succeed almost every night.
Just come on and set a piano on fire or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that should be the goal. But if you're fucking the stool, if you fuck the piano, if you jerk off into the beer, shoots on the crowd, like that's one of those things. Like
I like that all your references are sexual extremism references.
Well, no, but or you got to take a prop out. Or you gotta. There's another show. I did a show with Chris in Brooklyn, and they weren't great at Hannibal's show in Brooklyn, and they weren't great. I did great. I did good, and then my closer worked, and then Chris was doing like sort of trying shit out, and then he closed with what he's going to close his next HBO special with, and I go, you had to close, didn't you? And he's like, I fucking had to close. I couldn't not do my close because he didn't want to if you do 45 minutes, you don't want to go like, all right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. You want to close with the big thing.
Yeah, because, if you were okay with not closing, you probably wouldn't fucking be a comedian on stage.
That's right.
Right.
It goes back to
if
what
you
were
had the
saying.
ability to just whatever happened just happened and then you were fine just leaving, then you would not fucking charge people a lot of money to come see you do shit.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need to close.
Yeah, it would be unnecessary.
Okay, so you were opening for Bernie,
Yep.
and then Chris calls, and were you sort of torn about, do I want to be a writer? Am I sick of the road?
I never intended to be on stage. I never intended to be on stage
in your life.
Never did. It happened. It was happenstance. When I was in high school, I was approached by Lance because I was writing a comedy column in the school newspaper. And Lance is like, hey, we got a group. He saw that I was writing funny shit, and he was like, hey, we got this group. You want to come be in the group? So that's what I did. I never intended to be a stand-up. I became a stand-up when the group broke up. And it's like, fuck, I'm down this street now.
Right.
May as well keep going. So it was never, ever my intention to be a performer. That all happened as a result of writing. So when I got back to writing, for me, it was actually, I'm kind of where I want to be. But, I still have that. I do have a performance bug. I do enjoy it. I like it. I think I'm good at it.
You were in a sketch one time that fucking you gave a line read. You were in prison, and I'll run it if I can find it online. I'll run it. But god damn it, me and Chappelle used to do it fucking constantly. You were like, you go. It was Chris said something. You go. You were via satellite. You go, Chris, man, Chris.
Right.
Chris. And it was so goddamn fun. It was and it killed. It was a fucking huge laugh off, just like,
Chris, come on,
man.
Chris, come on. Yeah. I don't know why that's funny.
But you remember it?
Yeah, no, I know exactly. It was Black Guy. Yeah, we did 3 or 4 of those sketches where we had the talking heads. I was Black Guy, Wanda was a woman, and Tom Agner was a white guy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was just the demographic and shit. And then it would be some topic and we'd be talking about it.
Yeah.
And then, whatever I'd say. Chris, that's some bullshit, man. Chris, come on. Chris. Come on, Chris.
Yeah.
And then that's the joke.
But that's one of those things. It's like all comedy writers can perform in some ways. But that was a perfect example.
Not
well,
true.
your bit.
That's not entirely true. But there are guys that like they're like, or do this, and you like fucking just bang, I can do it.
Because I know what the bit is.
Yeah.
Like I can do that. I can act for 4 minutes.
Right.
It gets past that and like, oh yeah, I got to get out of here. I'll just fucking run out of a scene.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, I'm good. 4 minutes I can act, and then I got to go. Maybe 3.
I can do that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were like, oh, good, finally, someone's gonna let me write. Was it more like that?
Well, here was the real practical approach to it. I was doing stand up, and honestly, I look at certain performers, and I know that they just love it up there. They fucking can't wait to get on that stage and get that mic in their hand and get everybody, doing a thing. And as much as I'm a neglected, have a child inside and want,
we're gonna get
attention,
to that later. Yeah,
right. I didn't have the same fire to get out there and be in front of that audience as those other guys. But I really love being funny and I love creating. I'm going to get in this other line. This other line, for me, in a very practical sense, was a shorter line. It's like every fucking body wants to be on. Nobody wants to go and create and write and be,
right.
And this is a weird way of looking at it. I thought comedians inherently, in my brain, and actors, they're consumers. A lot of times they're waiting for people to come up with shit so they can do something. Comedians less so because, at least we write material, you go into a club with a... Yeah, but when you're an actor, when you just get into that place where you're just a performer, you got to wait for somebody to come up with something.
Right.
And so in my mind, I'm like, well, why don't I be the guy to come up with shit?
Right.
Then my fate is absolutely
Which even,
always.
and we've talked about on the show, even in the black community is even less popular than in the white community.
The writing?
Yeah, like
to go be a writer and developer.
It's kind of like, you're writing, like, so shit. What, did you lose your leg or something?
Yeah, it really means very little. And then just historically, as a black guy who's a comedy showrunner or whatever, there might be a couple of dozen of us.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, really, if we held the meeting right now,
Do they not have a meeting?
no, we don't have a meeting. We should have
that
one.
was a serious question. I mean, you'd think there would be an organization of some sort.
You know, the last few guys I can think of any note, Larry Wilmore.
Larry Wilmore's been on the show.
Bentley Evans.
Bentley Kyle
Evans. Yeah,
Oh, Bentley Farnsworth, the butler.
Right,
of
that's
Puffy.
the other guy. Yeah. He's just he
runs the show of that house, though.
He runs the show inside the closet where they pick out clothes and hand out the umbrellas.
You're saying Puff is in the closet?
I like the way you spin that.
As a Champs
spin.
exclusive.
I don't know if that's a spin.
Twirl.
There you go.
All right, we're searching for words here.
Yeah.
But I mean, literally in the last, and I mean, there's been a few women as well.
Wasn't one of the guys who did Married with Children black?
Michael Moye?
He was black dude, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This might not be on the money, but the way I understand the story is that Married with Children was a concept that Moye developed, and it was originally called Not the Cosbys, and it was supposed to be an answer to the uber positive,
right,
everybody's a doctor and a lawyer and blah blah blah, you know, that Bill Cosby was doing, because he was huge on NBC at the time, and so that was kind of an answer to that. Now I don't know at what point, you know,
I've heard that as well.
So I don't know if it was originally a black family and they turned into a white family, or trailer trash, whatever it is. I don't know what all those things are, but yeah, Michael Moye is probably the singular most unsung,
right,
you know, black showrunner.
Did any of the Good Times? They had a black staff, right? Or like a lot of black writers, or no? It was mostly
True.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Have you ever heard the Sanford and Son story?
No.
Again, this could be apocryphal. I don't know.
Well, who did you hear it from?
I heard it from a white comedy writer.
All right.
Apparently, at some point, Fred Sanford was like, fuck it, I'm sick of all these white. Fred Sanford,
right.
Red Fox was like, fucking, I'm sick of all these white dudes writing for me. White dudes, one of whom included Gary Shandling. I'm sick of all these white motherfuckers writing for me. I want to get all brothers in here.
I wish you had done the Red Fox voice.
Yeah,
People don't trust black people.
So he gets all black writers, and they do a read through. Fucking tanks,
right?
And Red apparently goes, "Give me back my Jews." Whether it's true or not, I don't know.
Have you heard about Who Becky?
No.
I just heard this
The
story.
Jew thing I just do for the homeboys.
I just heard the story about Roseanne,
right.
And Roseanne, like, who was famous for.
I already like that. I think I know what this means.
Who was famous for bringing in her buddies, her stand-up buddies, and sometimes just her buddies to come be on the writing staff, and she would force people. You know, she's like sort of famous for it.
Yeah.
And so she brought this person in who's a stand-up, I guess, to go to like do punch-up and be on the writing staff, and they were doing a reading.
Swag.
They were doing a reading like of one of the scripts, and she goes, "Who Becky?"
One of her writer friends said that.
She brought someone to write on Roseanne, who goes, "Who Becky?" Who Becky?
Who
is
are you?
Roseanne's daughter on the television.
And she knew
show.
that she didn't know the show
She
at
didn't
all.
know.
And it was a black woman?
I don't know if it was a black woman.
Well, you did the black voice, like that's the
No.
voice I did for the kid in Mogadishu. It's the same voice.
Just saying.
You stealing my shit, man. Come on. Just gonna take the fucking black voice and apply it to everybody.
I'm an old school comedy guy. I'll steal someone's voice and just
Yeah.
do that.
What
I'm
was
like
it?
Bernie Mac.
Episode
just
1,
like that.
you know, season 1, episode 1. No one.
No,
no
this
one knows
was
the
like
characters.
it was well into the show. I don't know if the woman was black, but I know that the story is Who Becky, not Who is Becky.
I know that the intonation was black.
I know that the verbiage was black as well.
I
Right.
might not make it out of this podcast
Because you did not say who's Becky,
That's what I'm saying.
which
That's
would have
the-
made it white.
The story is Who Becky, not
Who
Who's Becky.
Yeah, right.
So there weren't. I guess there weren't a lot of. There weren't a lot of black. There weren't a lot of black writers. I mean, there just aren't a lot of black writers overall.
No, and right now I'm focusing on the guys, and you know, so that you know that's Martin, Jamie, the Bernie Mac show, and Chris Rock.
Right.
Don Rio, white guy, ran Damon's show, so you know that's off the table. I guess you got I guess you got Townsend, because Townsend did the Parenthood, but he was kind of, you know, Townsend is a precursor in an odd way to Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
You
We've had Robert on the show as well.
Yeah. So in his own way, he's a precursor to where Tyler was, because when he did what was that thing they did with Keenan?
The Hollywood Shuffle.
No, not Hollywood Shuffle. What was Robert's variety show?
The Robert Townsend show.
Yeah. Partners in Crime.
Yeah.
So that was Robert's thing, and then then he got the Parenthood. So you know,
That is actually one of my goals for this show, is to get more black dudes writing.
All right. Well,
I know that
this is
sounds
good.
corny, but like,
No, that's pretty
like
sincere.
I really do want more black dudes to write because they just don't, and they don't see it as even like a viable option.
Yeah, I think they think of it if they're going to do it, then they'll write. But here's the tough part, and here's the singular hardest thing about being a black writer in Hollywood. It's a tough place to be situated because on the one hand, you go, okay, if there's a great black actor, something like that, you certainly go, well, I'd love the opportunity to work with someone whose references I probably know the culture, whatever it is. Okay, great. So, but then if I do that, then I'm pigeonholed as the black guy that can only write for the black guy, but then if I try to go for a white guy, I can probably be on the staff, but I'm likely not going to get the showrunner gig. They're not going to call me up and go, hey, we want you to run the Tim Allen show. Not that I can't do it. Not that we don't have blue collar references or I didn't go to Sears. I had a Sears. I got tools. I know what the fuck you talking about. We had a yard. We fix shit. It's like that's not some experience that's outside of where I lived and how I grew up and the shit that I experienced. But there's a mindset in place that says you're not the same as that. But then, it's that same mindset is not in place when it's time for Don Rio to run,
Right,
Damon's
that's
show.
interesting because I feel like I feel like I couldn't write or run some blue collar comedy show. I couldn't run a show right now.
Right,
You know what I'm
but
saying?
you would be given the opportunity.
Yeah, right.
Whereas-
Right. They'd call you and say, hey,
you
Jeff
think you could do
Foxworthy
this?
is doing a new sitcom.
Right.
We want to talk to you.
Right.
But I know that goes to that thing of like it's a blessing and a curse. Because through this they will.
Oh, you mean big dicks?
They will ask me to write a black show.
Right.
But here's the good news.
Right.
I get black offers to white offers probably 7-1. So I'm in the same boat.
What do you mean?
Meaning I get offered black shit
Right.
every day. And I get offered white shit so rarely.
Oh, right.
Because it's just
Right.
it's purely a commercial thing.
Right.
It's purely like you do that.
Right.
So do more of that.
Do more of that. And they're like, in a it's like, hey, Neal knows how to talk to black people. This is great.
Yeah.
So we can have a black act, but we have a person that can translate for us.
No, I know. I know. Well,
Neal speaks
right.
black.
No, Neal's bilingual, and so are you. I think they would assume that I'm more bilingual than you are.
Well, you're a white person that speaks black. I'm a black person that speaks white. They're like, we
Yes,
can talk to Ali.
but I think they don't know how well I speak black. Right. But they assume that you won't speak white as well as I speak black.
Right.
Yeah, which is racist and true.
It's
Yes.
not black to be well spoken.
But having said that, you get opportunities. It's a fucked up
You're
thing.
right. You get opportunities that
that you
might
wouldn't get.
Well, I mean, we're all at the mercy of a group of people that have absolutely no fucking idea of how this works.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Okay, I've come to the conclusion over the last year that maybe I write black comedy better than white comedy, and I just have to live with that.
But what does that mean, though?
It means black performers. Mm-hmm. It means black verbiage.
Right.
It means
So you're like the Gary Owen of writers.
somewhat. I mean, potential. I can write for white people,
Right.
But I can write. I write really well for black people too.
I just figured it out. You should write a show for Gary Owen.
That's hilarious. If he did that, they would both cease to exist. Neither of them
They would
we
cancel each
yeah,
other
It would
out.
just stop being real.
It actually wouldn't even. It would be broadcast as black. It would be a black show.
On the premiere night, it would just be static, and no one would ever see either of you again.
No, but that's the. So I'm trying to lighten, go it's not just because you're black. It's also because you have a black pedigree.
Right.
Of writing for black. And then maybe you write better. Do you ever think wouldn't you, when you're writing characters, don't you want to have a number of black characters?
Well, here's the thing. It's
it's a minefield. Basically.
Here's the tough part of being stereotyped. if you're lucky and you put a lot of effort into it, you can break out of that shit and you can be Lenny Kravitz, go fuck it, I do rock, and I'm just not gonna quit. And fuck it, if I don't get played on the black radio station, I don't care, because I'm just gonna keep doing this rock until you all take me seriously. But then
which has yet to happen.
You kind of have to do that. So from the mindset of the people who have to communicate these ideas and who have to sell these ideas and put money up for these ideas, stereotypes work best because it takes the minimal amount of thought. All of the fucking nuance that you might understand because of your relationships with black people and having been in those circumstances in those rooms, or if I had spent a ton of time around Jewish people and I might understand that nuance and that language. Yeah, they're not quite ready. They're not sure they want to trust that.
Right.
They're like, yeah, you were in that room and you know how to talk to those people, but I don't know that you know how to talk to those people. And I'm the one that has to go into the other room and ask the guy for $40 million so you can do this show. And I'm not prepared to go in there and try to convince him that you know what the fuck you're talking about. I need to know that you know what the fuck you're talking about, and I'm not sure that I do, so I'm gonna go get this white guy.
Yeah, it's also what's gonna make me look smart.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand why someone,
if this it's what it is, it's playing defense. It's like, if this fails, then they're gonna go, why did we hire a black guy to write a Jewish show?
But the thing,
they would never have that same thought if they'd hired a white guy. They would just think,
what they would say is like, you know what, he just never really cracked the voice,
right?
But they would probably say that.
I cracked the voice earlier. Remember? When I cracked your voice,
you snatched it right out of my throat.
I didn't just crack it; I took it.
So what do you find yourself consumed with that? Do you ignore it? Do you?
No, I mean, it's you want to be. Sometimes I get annoyed. There are occasions where I actually do get angry because, you might be talking to a person who, I don't know, you might be talking to a group of people whose collective years in entertainment and especially in comedy are a fraction of what yours are.
It's crazy.
It's like, dude, I've been doing this shit for a long fucking time. Everything that I know that and more. And they have to sit and try to be the arbiter of what's going to work. And I'm going, yeah, didn't you motherfuckers have a show on with a monkey last year?
Right. Looks like everybody in Hollywood is desperate to prove their value. And almost none of them have any.
And I mean, in the landscape of comedy, if you just gave a guy a check and said, give me the best fucking version of whatever it is you can do, it might fail, it might work, but the
odds are the exact same.
The exact fucking same.
Mathematically, it's the same. Just give him no notes. I always say, when you develop a show, you have to get lucky as the writer that the executives don't fuck up your show. You literally, it's like being with the right girl and whether it's like you have to hope that you're powerful enough to either deflect their notes, or you have to just hope that they are secure enough to not fuck your show up.
No, but the thing is about notes. If they give notes, if they bombard every show with notes, then every show that succeeds got their notes, and so therefore they have value. Oh, I gave that show. I shaped that show.
But in the landscape of success, you're talking less than baseball averages. These motherfuckers aren't even hitting 200.
No doubt. Well, that's what the guys at my work were saying was like everyone who works for NBC, old school executives at NBC, they always say, "Oh yeah, I was very involved in Friends, and I was very involved in whatever the other one. I don't know, it was Cheers or
and they don't mention Veronica.
And they always, oh yeah, I developed Friends. That's my show, Friends, and it's like, oh, none of the other shows that were on for less than
Veronica's
20?
Closet.
Nobody comes up and goes, I was at the forefront of animal practice. I was the one that I gave him a lot of notes.
Yeah,
nobody claims that.
Yeah.
And see, here's the fucked up thing about just the process of being a comedian, especially, you own your failure.
Yeah.
So when you go out and you do your act and your shit tanks, or it's like you own that. You have to respond to it and determine what you're going to do next. Not even what you're going to do next. What you're going to do right now, because right now your shit's tanking, and maybe the audience is polite and they sit there quietly and let you suffer, and then you do your 10 more minutes and then you're out of there. Maybe they're from Harlem and they boo you the fuck off the stage. There's a lot of things that can happen in that moment, and then you got to decide what you're going to do the next time you come back on.
Right.
But you own own your success and you own your failure. You know, to be in an executive
Well, yeah,
capacity,
you can't just go, I did that hit joke.
Right. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I wrote that. That last one y'all laughed at, I did that.
Well, that's
that closing joke? Yeah, I wrote that.
I don't know
what
who
about
wrote
the
that
other
shit y'all
that
didn't.
fucking tanked?
Right, well, that's
I don't know.
that's the great power of stand-up. Actually, is like you live and die by yourself. It's
Yeah.
like and you have complete agency over yourself as a performer.
If cats got called out at the network, like, all right, who's responsible for this monkey shit?
Right, you're fired.
Who wrote that one?
Right.
You know, because when there's a staffer.
But the thing is, the guy who wrote the Monkey Show probably wrote something good before that.
But not the guy that wrote that. You know, the guy that comes up with the idea and he thinks this thing is funny. I'm sure that if you sat and you listened to him, he probably can explain to you, you know, why he thinks it's funny or what was funny about it. And I believe that to an audience that is like-minded, that it is funny. But when you go through the gauntlet and then they tell you to change this and change that and do this thing and do that thing and, you know, and switch this thing around, whatever, there's no collective ownership of, we all took part. It's like that fucking Agatha Christie Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah.
Everybody killed him.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, motherfucker, we all did it. But nobody else stands up and goes, yes, I stabbed.
Well,
too.
well, Animal Practice was actually noted to death. They were so noted so hardcore they lost their showrunner and they got a new one and then just collapsed. But do you know this? Do you know who the highest testing character on NBC last season was?
The monkey.
The monkey.
Wow.
Yeah.
So who knows anything? Nothing matters.
And the monkey is someplace going, man, this is bullshit. I was in animal practice, right? Now I can't get another show.
Oh, the monkey's from Mogadishu. He was plucked from the jungles of Mogadishu.
Look, man, the reality is the black voice is funny.
Okay, I'm not. Well, I wouldn't argue that.
Look,
especially if you do it in various pitches. If you can get it to
monkey pitch. Yeah.
Okay, so what's your kind of?
Well, I'm not angry about it.
No, I don't. You don't strike me as angry.
No,
I mean,
I'm not.
it's really hard to get angry after a while because when it's even on the shit that's not a huge. It's the money's still pretty great.
Look, man. I mean, here's the reality is, and to the extent that you feel like you would like to have this unequivocal consideration, to be able to do the best thing that you're capable of doing, but at the same time, there's no, I always say this: you don't have a right to be in show business. Mm-hmm. So you can pick the ways in which you want to.
The fuck you say to my sister?
So it's like, if I want direct access to the audience, I can always go pick up the mic.
Right.
Now, granted, if I just go pick up the mic, then, I can be, you can go and Kevin Hart that shit and be like, I'm going to be the baddest motherfucker and get a huge crowd and that's just what I'm going to do. And then you all can't fuck with me. Or, you can go, well, I'm going to try and be a part of the system and whatever. And then you deal with that. So they're all choices. So you can't be mad because you chose to get involved in
and
some
are
shit.
You of the mind that given a perfect situation, you could write a show that would be very popular? No notes, nothing. They just give you the money and they give you the cameras and they give you do you think then I know what
I know I could write a show that would be very good. I don't know if it would be very popular because why things become popular are, there's so many things that are out of your control. The moment in time where a particular thing hits and how people are reacting to something, and why they picked you versus something else emotionally. Why do they feel this way? Why is Kevin Hart the hottest comic right now?
Right.
Well, a bunch of shit happened in order for that to occur.
Right.
Cat Williams flamed the fuck out.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin Hart shows up and he works hard and he's funny and he's energetic and he seems to have a good time entertaining us and we appreciate that shit in a fucking recession. And I want to spend my money on something worthwhile and Cat Williams just cursed out somebody and hit a guy in the face with a baseball bat and he used to fuck out of here. So Kevin Hart looks really good.
You're talking in present tense. That just happened.
Yeah, that actually minutes before we came in.
We all were punched by Cat
and that's absolutely no slight against Kevin, but Robin Harris dying clears the way for Bernie Mac.
Yep.
So, was Bernie always as funny? Sure. But this guy being out of the way, as sad as his departure was, it clears the deck. And it's like, oh, there's another guy that has been compared to this dude, but the other dude isn't there now.
Right.
So now we can all focus on him. Robin Harris leaving the Comedy Act Theater clears the way for Martin Lawrence as well. You know, Martin Lawrence is the host of Def Jam because there's no Robin Harris, right? So it's like, yeah, I could be good. I am good. I know that I can do that. Now, whether or not something becomes popular, who the fuck knows? You know, why does fucking anything become?
Right.
Do people out there fucking doing a Harlem Shake and putting on masks and shit, and that's popular? Who knows why?
Yeah.
Did that guy plan to be popular?
No.
You can't plan to be popular.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
And what advice would you give to a 25-year-old black kid who wants to be a comedy writer?
I don't know, man. You know, if I'm actually sitting talking with somebody, you know, I think I try to be encouraging, you know, if I know you. But in reality, I kind of feel like, you know, quit, get out of this business, leave.
That's
go
what
home,
I always say.
Go away. You know why? Because this is the mindset really is, if you want somebody to be in this shit, fuck trying to help them. Try and stop them. Because
Right.
if you can stop them, they didn't belong here. Get the
Right.
fuck out of here, man. You don't need to be doing this shit. You know that scene in Boys in the Hood when Doughboy tells Trey to get out of the car. Oh, look at these motherfuckers. Y'all don't
We've
remember
seen the
scene.
movie, but we don't need to know it frame for frame.
Yeah, you need to know the scene where Doughboy tells Trey to get out of the car.
Keep talking.
This is
Jog our
before they
memory.
shoot the dude?
This is at the end. Yeah, this is right. Yeah, they did the drive by. They killed Morris Chestnut already,
Right.
And they're mad and they're about to go get the drive by guys. And then Doughboy is like, basically, you don't fucking belong in this car. Get the fuck out of here. And he leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Just like,
See?
and yes,
Boom.
you should. You're not a gangster. Get the fuck out of here. We about to go do some gangster shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this is time for you to leave. I give
And
that
if
much
you
of a
were a
shit
real
about you.
gangster, you'd be like, I belong in this fucking
If you
car.
were a real guy,
Yeah.
you'd be like, fuck this, I'm not leaving. We're going to shoot some people
Yeah.
and I'm down. You know, so I mean it's kind of like that. You know, if you're writing and you want to be in this, you know, just be prepared to get your ass kicked. You know, it's going to be 90 no's to every 10 yeses, if not 95 no's.
Right. Me and my friend
To
always.
every
It's going to be
10
10
yeses.
drive-bys for every
Yeah,
good day.
10 yeah.
Today was a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say, my friend and I always say, comedy's not about whether or not you can succeed. It's whether you can fail and continue.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's mostly failure.
Yeah.
It's mostly failure.
That's what I said on Twitter. My showbiz record is like 2-6. and it's
Right.
just nothing but failure.
I can't begin.
Cry me a river.
I'm no,
No,
shit.
that's what I mean. It's nothing but failure. It is, but it's high paid failure.
Yeah, I can't tell somebody that, you know, it's like, well, I've been in development for a year and a half. They'd be like, fuck you, you're in development.
Right.
You can actually
Yeah.
call up NBC and talk to people there.
You want to see? You want to see
Really?
real failure, guys? Everybody, I'm making a recommendation for a documentary. It's called The Hollywood Complex. Has anyone seen it?
I've started to watch it and couldn't.
It's
mean the
so creepy, right?
Yeah.
It's about this the Oakwood apartment complex.
Right.
And all of these parents who bring their children in from out of state for pilot season.
Right.
It is the most fucking depressing, cringeworthy, make you wonder why you ever got involved in Hollywood shit. I mean, it's the worst.
You got to watch a show called the LA Complex.
Oh, yeah? Take us through it.
It's this.
It's on CW, right?
It's on the CW. Have you seen it?
I have not, but I know it's there.
Talk about it.
It's just a bunch of people from like Canada who live at it's kind of like a Melrose Place, but it's made by the people who made Degrassi. So like the plots are just so over the top. It just delivers. I mean, they're all having sex with each other and like.
So the point
sold.
is that you've seen Degrassi, is what you're saying.
I've seen a little bit of both,
Well,
and they're
sure, we
both
all
like
have.
they're both like kind of fun to watch because they're so stupid. But
I've heard about
I would
this
recommend it.
Degrassi.
I would watch.
That's
I
what
would
Drake-
watch the Hollywood
Watch
one
the Hollywood
and then palate
Complex.
cleanse with LA Complex.
The LA Complex.
Isn't that where Drake comes from, Degrassi?
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
What would you recommend? What would you say to an 18-year-old Ali LeRoi?
What would I say to an 18-year-old Ali LeRoi? Finish school.
Okay.
Why you're so successful?
Well,
You're talking about college? I'm assuming you finished high school.
Yeah, I finished. No, I did not finish college. Yeah, all this shit's been by hook or by crook. Some guys have been fortunate enough to have something that they think of as a mentor or somebody that kind of guided them through. You know, I never had any of that. And just the idea that as ethereal as all of this shit seems to be, if you're in the nuts and bolts part of, which is writing and directing and producing and shooting, you know, there's actually a path. You know, you can go fucking be at a school where people make films, and then, you know, lo and behold, the people that make films come to the school where people make films to get people to make films.
Right.
You know, and to be in TV. I didn't know any of that shit. I went to, you know, I stayed for a little while at Columbia College in Chicago.
I went
and
there.
took one acting
He actually went
class. You did go there.
I did go there.
Aiden Quinn was in my he was in my film class. You know, he's done fine. You
Yeah.
know, and I guess I've done okay. I don't know if he finished school.
I mean, if you'd stayed in, what if you'd stayed in school? You might have missed your bus. You know what I mean? You might have gone, you know what? I don't think this is for me. You just never know. The universe has too many variables.
Well, I look at it in this regard. There is a connectivity there. You know, if you're in any sort of institution that's tied to any other sort of institution, then there tends to be some sort of pipeline. If you're talking about being a stand-up comic, then fucking go get on the mic and see what you got. There's no school for that, period. And there's no school for writing well. But there is a channel of opportunity.
Where did you learn most about writing?
Where I learned most about writing? That's
Yeah.
what I mean, the first film I wrote I wrote a feature, and it was an exercise. I had the Sid Field screenplay book, you know. And the exercise was, let me see if I can write 120 pages of something. You know, and you bits and pieces, you learn how long is a script. You know, how do you write? And Sid Field tells you about act structure and all this sort of shit. You know, you're writing sketches. Can I write a TV show? Can I, you know, so it was all experimentation. But the thing is that there's no outlet. So if you're in school, say, you know, you can write a fucking short film, and it's like, oh, okay, I have an idea of how, what happens when you write something scripted and then it gets shot, and here are some of the things that occur. So yeah, if you're 18 or 19 now, you know, that shit's part of the, you know, it's part of a curriculum, and it's real. So you can go to AFI or Los Angeles Film School, or, you know, I don't know, you know, New York, NYU or something, and actually end up in the business. You know, they are actually,
I think you can just as easily now, especially. I have the complete opposite advice. Not for an 18-year-old Ali LeRoi.
That would be weird.
I have nothing to say to that.
If you came to him and were like, don't finish college. Trust me.
Get it
good
together.
information. I'm Neal from the future.
No, I would say I feel like with YouTube and all that shit, the fact that anyone goes to college now to me is crazy with Google. The fact that there's Google is like, just go on fucking Amazon, Google, or go on like someone's. There's got to be syllabi on Amazon.
They have keggers on Google?
Well,
they what?
Have keggers?
Actually, that's real. The primary reason to go to college.
One of the things that I missed out on college is socialization.
Yeah, you learn how to be an adult. You learn how to be a kind of
meet
person.
some actresses or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. If you're gonna be a stand up, fuck it, just go and be a stand up, and and go to school anyway. You know, in case you fail at that shit. I didn't have a B plan, so maybe that's the my wife always says that to me when she talks to other people. She's like, I didn't have a B plan. I did not. It was be successful at this or be an abysmal failure, and then God knows what happens.
Trying.
That sounds like a B plan, though.
Well, yeah, that was 50 Cent,
Die trying.
Yeah, he put die trying in there too. It's like, let me get shot a few times. See,
yeah, he tried.
He tried to die.
That.
He tried to die trying, and he failed.
That was his A plan.
Yeah, Moshe gave me the look like, you know what? That's our closer right there. That's our
that was a good one. He tried to die trying.
All right, well,
I got to close.
You may start your own podcast. So if you like this, look for Ali and Owen Smith, another guest of ours, is going to start doing their own podcast. I feel like we only scratched the surface.
We only scratched the surface.
It was still interesting.
It was a deep
surface.
But guess what? I feel a little bit less neglected because you've paid attention to me.
Yeah, finally.
So thanks, man. I appreciate
somebody
it.
has to.
Yeah.
All right, Ali LeRoi, the great Ali LeRoi.
Right.
God bless. Continued success.
Follow me on Twitter and get pissed at the shit I say.
Oh yeah.